seems there is something that I need you to know. So let's put aside our judgment so we can just flow. Oh,
came over and spoke to me, and he was like the chaplain, and I don't know, it was just like the people that like are also in that environment, and he was like really making things happen on a spiritual level, like holding all of that for the university. And when I started to speak to him, I was like, oh right, there's loads of this, like there's loads of people connected around this. And also like, yeah, so it's like the form of what people consider spirituality, and also the fact that like if we're comfortable with ourselves, like have this, because I live with my nan, and she's like really, she's quite mocking of me having like my moon water and my fireside gatherings and things like that. And it's kind of like if I'm comfortable with it and I make a joke of it as well, it's like I think it it removes that barrier of like separation of like, because she's probably thinking that like I'm weird, or I'm, thinking that she's too normal. And then I'm like, well, no, it's like we're just both doing our thing. I've got my moon water, you've got your, don't know,
Yeah. I
crossword.
think
Like,
yeah, I think that's like where a separation can come in too, because like I feel like that's why the world has so many problems today, because all these people have these different beliefs that they resonate with so deeply, and they found so much light in them that they've not been taught that it's possible for someone else to have a different belief and still feel the same validation and love. So I feel like it's like we're all so unique and different, and that's like the whole experience of being human. The fact that each human, there's like millions of us, gillions that have like lived on the earth so far, and each one has had a completely different life experience. And it's like so many infinite ways of how a human can express themselves. So I feel like we're meant to all be different. Like that's something that I'm learning as well. Like I don't because when I first started going through a spiritual awakening, I was like thinking in my head of how, some people weren't putting that spiritual energy into themselves. And I was thinking, how could they do this? Like, it's necessary to do this. But I started realizing how like everyone's meant to be going through their own different like journeys, because that is how like we all lead to a certain destination point. And I feel like if people started just realizing, like if we started uh accepting each other on a basis of like love rather than only, because it's like a thing of um oh, we all believe the same, so that's why I respect you. But I feel like it should go deeper than that. Like even if an alien came down onto the earth, it shouldn't be like, oh, you're different, so I can't respect you, I can't love you. It should just be a spiritual kind of vibration that even if we're physically different and have different identities, like the way how we represent themselves, we should still be able to respect and accept one another. And like I feel like so many people now are so like, even when you go on social media, there's just so many arguments about like we're the good people, no, we're the good people, we're the bad people. When like I feel like if people were just given the freedom to explore themselves and realize that just because someone else believes in something different than them, it doesn't make their beliefs any less valid. It would just give everyone that availability to kind of be and live, and it's so annoying to see how many like wars and arguments are happening right now, just because people are struggling with accepting this person doesn't see things the same as me, but I can still love them. And it's a shame as well to see how like even like we're all here because we're struggling to connect to different people, how just because we are spiritual we are projected in the way of, oh, the weird, the hippies, the this, the that, when in reality it's just kind of like, no, I'm different, but we can still love each other. So yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? You've given me a what's the word? I was just thinking, because I think at the end of the day, it all depends on what the word spiritual means to each of us. Because at the end of the day, I'm using the word spiritual, but and we're a spiritual people because we're open hearted, we're open to communicate, we're open to accept others. So I think when it comes to looking at and saying like the definition of spirituality, because they're spiritual, they're not. And I guess some of us have got into the habit of looking for spiritual people because what we're actually looking for is people who will accept others, but we've put it into the definition of spirituality. So yeah, I think that's what how I describe it as well. Like when I say spiritual people, I look at people that are open and accepting of others and other views. So, but I've put it into the definition of spirituality.
Yeah,
It's more like
because
practicing spiritual.
yeah,
That's
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. I was gonna say along the thing on to what Jamelia was saying, but if you wanted to talk first, then I was going
No, I mean, everybody's saying everything for me. It's really strange actually because I've been thinking these things in my head for so many years. And it's like, I think because I've put on this event, obviously everybody that's come has got the similar uh thoughts. Like, do you know how like normally it's like one or two people might have this perspective, but like to be in a group of people that have this open-minded but open-hearted as well, it's really so special, and that's why I'm so grateful that you're all here, and thank you for being my reflections of love today.
that's beautiful. I
And I
feel
hope I can be yours as well.
I feel to touch back on what Geraldine was saying as well about this whole thing of whether people are like spiritual or not. Like we're all spiritual beings. We're all spiritual beings. It's whether people believe it or not, and whether they're like practicing that and cultivating it more, or closed off to it. You know, and some people believe they're their ego, and we can all fall into ego traps at times. And our ego, what I've been learning, is just so much more than what we think of just being like, oh, I'm great, whatever. That's not our ego. Our ego is also the judgment, it's the limiting beliefs, it's the us against them, it's all these niggling thought patterns that's holding us back from loving and holding us back from connecting. And yeah, that's something. My heart's been like on fire this whole time. Like this is my calling. I feel like to talk to people about the ego and talk to people about consciousness. That R.J. Spinner, he says that like we are sentient with God force, life force energy flowing through us, you know, and when we tap into that, you know, we're limitless. But it's these limiting beliefs what we have that we're not good enough or whatever thing, you know, or this is the only way to do something or whatever. These things is what's holding us back and keeping us hurting. And I feel like we're all called to the people that's healing, you know, that's on the journey and like practicing this stuff to open up and shed the layers of the ego that's saying, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, which is putting us in these boxes, like separating us from each other. But when we're open and from the heart and accepting of others, you know, and like what Jamelia was saying of we're all different, we're all unique. And that was reminding me of we're all one, we're all the same, we're all God, we're all one, but we're all experiencing life in all these different ways, you know, and that's beautiful. And we may not understand how someone else is experiencing their journey, but that's okay if we're focused on our own journey and loving ourselves. Then it doesn't matter what other people's doing. And when we're loving our own work and art and expression for the love of it, then it doesn't matter if, you know, it's not, we're doing it for the love, not the likes, you know.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, it's about the journey, you know, it's about expressing ourselves from the heart rather than, you know, pleasing others or trying to be rich and famous and things. But those things come into play afterwards when we follow our heart, follow our intuition, like what you're saying, Jenna. I feel like our intuition is like God or the angels or that connective life force that's not bound by time or space, speaking to us and guiding us, because that is the oneness for us all to be flowing and open and loving. But we're just like awakened to that more and like want to cultivate that more, whereas some people still asleep because they're in their pain still, you know. And we've got really important roles as people who can see to shine the light and show the way. But like today,
Yeah.
shine the light with love and compassion.
Yeah, and it can be really difficult actually being in this space that we might be in, where we are seeing certain things or feeling certain things, but then other people might not be there yet, and it's just having compassion for them, but at the same time not closing off yourself and like contorting to be this different person because somebody's not there yet, you know.
Thank
It's a
you for that. And
challenge.
needed that what you just said.
It's in your heart, extend love to us.